Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Thursday night advocacy podcast. And tonight we have a special guest with us, Brittany Wade. Welcome, Brittany.
Hey y'all.
We thank Brittany for accepting our invitation and coming and joining us tonight. I personally know Brittany. I've known Brittany since she was a teen. We worship and attend the same church. And Brittany has just been, she's a blessing to me. She already knows that. Her mom, her sisters, and her brother, they are dear to me. So Brittany knows how I feel about her. And I'm glad that she's here tonight where she can share with us her journey as being a mom of a child with different abilities and share with us how she's been navigating it thus far. So, Brittany, we can start off if you would just like to share a few things about yourself with us so we can get to know you better.
Sure. Well, hey y'all. My name is Brittany. I'm from the cold state of Michigan. Pray for us. We're freezing here. I am married with two boys. One who is autistic, and he is how old is he? He's 4. He'll be 5 in February. And listen, I just been trying to you know figure this thing out. It's been a journey, and I still feel like I'm learning a whole bunch. But yeah, and I have a platform where I get to link up with a whole bunch of other parents like myself and like you all, and we really feed off each other and help each other out with things we just don't know, because as you guys know, this can be a very lonely life. So it's just important to stay connected to other parents and stuff like that. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yes, you do. You stay connected. And I mean, the reality is you stay connected in more ways than one.
Mhm.
Don't know Brittany is a trendsetter. And she has been also with social media, with her presence on TikTok and on Facebook and having many followers who are just trying to navigate this life of finding out a new diagnosis, what to do next, So we have all the feels, and we know you do too. And I think that's something we want to start with. I think I don't think I even know like the story of like with Brody, like your son. What was it that was it something that you thought was different, or did your pediatrician like how did this start for you? Can you share that?
Yes. So Brody was born in 2019. So I guess people will consider him as a COVID baby. COVID happened, and it was just, I don't know. I just feel like I went from the postpartum depression straight to COVID when I started seeing behavioral things like different from my oldest child. He wasn't hitting any milestones. Um, he actually regressed. Um, and that was really confusing to me. But it was all of the things we saw, we just put it on the back burner because we just blamed it on COVID. You know what I mean? Like, people, around us just say, like, hey, he hasn't been around people. Like, he's not talking, he's not walking, he's not crawling, he's not babbling. All he wants to do is be on his iPad. Like, it's just COVID. He hasn't had any experience with the world. So, um, in the back of our mind, me and my husband, we kind of knew. I feel like we all go through that. It's something um not, it's just not. I just knew it wasn't what I was used to, right? So I talked a lot with my sister-in-law, and she has 2 kids on the spectrum, and she was like, you know what, he might be on the spectrum, but she was really really kind, because she knew if she laid the news out on me, I'd be done. You know what I mean? So as soon as COVID ended, I don't know if it really ended, but and we were able to go to the doctor, that's when more concerns happened. The little packet they give you at the checkups. And like when I said no to everything, y'all.
Wow.
And I was like, Oh my God, he's supposed to be doing all this. It was like a thick packet, at least like 5 pages. He
Wow.
didn't get anything. Also, he wasn't walking. That was a big thing too. He didn't walk until he was 2 years old. So we were in therapy for that. And yeah, it was just a lot of late milestones, a lot of he was flapping his hands a lot, staring at lights. And just it's just a lot of stuff that happened that made us question and wonder, which led us to get an evaluation done. And we later found out, I think it was May, sometime in May, we got the results back that he was on the spectrum. So,
Okay.
Now,
And that's
one thing I do want to check, I want to say this real quick, Crystal. I got to know Brittany when we went to Michigan with my cousin Crystal, and I was just so impressed by you, Brittany. One thing that I was impressed with is the fact, one video that stood out to me on TikTok was the one where you were laying in the bed and you had just found out your son was diagnosed.
mhm.
And you just was so real. I think you were just laying in the bed and you was like, I just got this diagnosis. I don't know about anybody else. I think Morgan wore her disability, but each time I went to the doctor, I felt like a part of my heart was chipped away. And I was so impressed by you because you didn't mind exposing this to the world. There were times that I was struggling with so many different things, my emotions, or her multiple diagnoses, and I had to put a smile on my face. I was hurting inside, but I never got to talk about it because I felt as though I would just be exposing myself in a way that I wasn't ready, you know.
Mhm.
So I commend you because I think that's why so many people were following you, because so many of us parents, you know, when we get this diagnosis, or we I would say, well, when we our children become what we didn't even think that they would become, or they didn't accomplish what we think that they should have accomplished, sometimes in your heart is so broken, but you're not able to show it because you kind of feel guilty, number one, because you almost second guessing your child, you know. And I think for myself, I wish when I looked at that, I was like, wow, I wish I could have had the courage to come out and tell people how I really felt about my daughter's diagnosis, but I felt guilty. So I want to commend you for that. I do.
Can
Thank
I just
you.
add that us moms really know what's going on with our children, and so many of us are told that that we're just overblowing something, or and I think all of us knew, um, you know, that there was something going on. And I know for me, my youngest, who's now 21, um, it took me until age 7 to get him diagnosed, because pediatrician after pediatrician kept telling me it was me, it was my anxiety, and that he was just a boy, and boys speak, later, and boys walk later, and boys crawl later, and um, it, I think it's something that doctors just don't listen to moms, which is really sad, and it delays the diagnosis.
Hmm.
Agreed
Hmm.
too.
Yeah, I agree too. And then I think with me, I think that I was thinking all kids are different. So they're going to, it's okay if he's not talking right now because his speech will come later or something like that. I don't think, I don't recall having experience or knowing people specifically, like I knew their kid was autistic. So it wasn't something that I recognized. And when you just said, Brittany, like the flapping of hands, I remember my pediatrician asked me, and I'm like, no, he doesn't flap his hands. Girl, I got video that I go back and watch, and
Yep.
Roman is flapping his hands. And I said, well, somebody should have demonstrated this to me. I did not know what,
Ooh.
I don't
Hmm.
know what flapping hands meant. I thought they meant like flying away like a bird or something. Like, I don't know. It didn't, and I didn't look it up, but I have video that shows he was doing those things. I just didn't understand the question that she was asking me. So, I really like that you had someone to at least bounce something off, your sister-in-law. That's helpful. And then when Paula and I talked about that video, and I mean, I think I probably shared with you, Brittany. Like, I think I just like had to swallow how I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because I just no one understood. I just had to swallow it and keep moving.
And
Yeah.
a lot of our neurotypical friends and family friends and whatnot, they don't understand. They just don't understand what it's like to have a special needs child. So it can be very difficult and it can be alienating and very lonely.
It
Yeah.
can be. So with
Yeah.
that, Brittany, like I feel like how did that receiving a diagnosis and caring for Brody, has that like affected any of your relationships?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Let me first go back a little bit.
Okay,
You
sure.
guys are commending me on like posting the video, but I want to be very real. Like, I didn't post the video when I was going through, I guess I was still going through it, you know, grieving the diagnosis or whatever, but I didn't post it until like a year later. I just happened to be in my phone because I wanted to go back to see like what Brody, used to do and stuff like that, just to like, I don't know. It was new therapies, new all of this. And I just, like you said, you went back to videos and you saw your son, flapping his hands and stuff like, so I was doing the same thing. And I came across the video of me crying. I'm like, when did I even record this? I had to look at the date and I had to figure it out.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, like this is the day that we got the diagnosis. And I was like, you know what? Like, let me just post it. Like, it's a little scary to post a video
It
of you crying
is.
because I'm like, first of all, why am I even recording myself? Like, that's so whack to me, right? So, but I had to like overcome. Like, it's other people out there going through this that needs to see this, so I just posted it. But I gotta, yeah, that's the video that went viral, and that's how I built the community or whatever. But what was the second question? I'm sorry, I talked too much.
Yeah, and then I didn't know about that post, and like I still think it was still brave to
And
post your reaction. I don't care
mhm,
if it was a year later. I still think just being vulnerable and putting yourself out there, that
mhm,
everybody we related to it. But I was just asking you, like, has it affected your relationships?
mhm.
Has you been caring for Brody, like your life, everything? Has that affected some of your relationships?
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking the other day, like, shoot, I think, I don't know, I just feel like as soon as reality set in, and I don't know, I don't want to say this is my identity, but I've made it my identity. Like, this is our lifestyle, this is our family now. So I feel like a lot of relationships, like, girlfriends that I had and stuff like that, like, we're still friends, but like, we're not close enough to where we talk every day. I don't like, there's just so many things that we do throughout the day. It's hard to maintain those relationships. So thank God, like, I have friends and family who understand, and we don't take it to heart that we can't talk all the time anymore. But it's mind blowing that I went from like literally talking to like friend groups all the time, hanging out, to like cold turkey, just like therapy, 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 therapy. Take care of your brother. You know what I mean? Like, and it takes a toll on your mental health because it's like, whoa, like this is my identity now. Like, this is what my life is about. Like, accepting that is really hard. So yes, I did not really lost relationships, but the dynamics changed.
Yeah,
I
you really have to take care of yourself.
Yeah, still trying to
Is
figure.
there anything specific that you do self-care wise that you found that helps a lot?
I'm over it.
I'm
Oh,
No, okay, so look, okay, so I feel like I'm just now, and I was actually about to make a video about this. I'm just now coming out of survival mode.
Yep, I
I still
totally
feel like I'm
understand.
still in it because, like, every day it seems like that. It's just like motherhood sometimes, right? But like, I'm finally at a point where I'm like, okay, like, let's think about doing stuff for yourself. Like, I was telling Crystal last Sunday was my birthday, and the day before, usually I have like the birthday blues, and I'm like really sad on my birthday. But this year, I was just like, why don't you just like go to the store and buy some makeup? Like, why don't you go? You used to love makeup. You used to look cute all the time, every day. And like, this is a good time for you to go to the store, like, buy some makeup. Who cares how much it is? Who cares? Just go get some makeup. make yourself look cute on your birthday, even if it's like not glam. I just did like, it's not, it wasn't even soft beat, y'all. It was just, it felt good to
Good.
I got some skincare, I got some makeup, and like that was my first act of self-care since his diagnosis. So
Wow. Wow. And I think sometimes we forget about
Yep.
ourselves. I think I'm gonna say this though, and being honest, I did that with parent when I was a parent to Jeremy. It's like once I became a parent, sometimes you deny yourself. And I think most parents will say, well, all parents do that. But I think it's a little bit more when you have a child with a disability because at the end of the day, where you could get that break or that time that you can get away. I think with your special needs children, you rarely get a break because let's keep it real, they're too much for somebody to watch. So if they're not if they're not in daycare or something, if you're sick, most people are like, the next time I got you, you
yeah,
know. So even when it comes to getting sick, it's almost as if you can't take care of yourself because Bunny said, what break exactly? You
mhm,
can't take care of yourself because who's going to take care of that child? You take for granted taking NyQuil or something when you're sick to be able to sleep all day. Sleep what? And you wake up and your house be on fire, or you wake up and and you be like, oh my goodness. So I think part of self-care is you just kind of forget yourself in this whole process.
and
You do.
also
And
the feeling of, I just always felt guilty if I even thought
oh
about,
yeah.
I should do this. Like it can be small things like going to McDonald's to get a large fry. Like that's self care sometimes, and I would feel
Yes.
guilty of doing that. I'm like, you gotta get to
Yeah.
therapy. You don't waste this 5 minutes to get you a fry from McDonald's because you need to get him to therapy. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
so, feeling guilty is another thing I struggle with because I just feel like I didn't deserve it for some reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
And let me add, for a while there, the only people you really talk to are therapists and,
Yeah.
and teachers and, and the principal, in
Yeah.
my case with my child, principal and vice principal and special needs teachers. And, those are the only grown-ups you get to talk to.
And
Facts.
I do believe that, I know my sister is on, my mom is on. Um, you feel isolated not because people don't make you feel as though, hey, I got your back, I'm here to talk to you, but there were times that I knew my family bared my burden. So what I tried to do is relieve them of that burden as much as possible. I suffered in silence, and there were times that, I mean, I held it in for so long. Sometimes my sister would just call me and I would just break down. And a lot of it is not because all the time you don't have the support. It's just that you don't want people to worry about you. I know there were times for me that because Crystal dealt with a lot of the stuff, when I went through stuff, I called and I cried to her because I felt bad. But I think we used each other as a sounding board because we knew how the person felt. And because my sister, she had healthy kids, I never wanted her to feel guilty because she had healthy kids. And I think a couple of times, I not that I was mad about that, but sometimes I used to wish, like, why couldn't my daughter be healthy? But I never wanted my sister to, and I know my sister, I knew she would probably be like, listen, I will take that cross to bear it for her. And I felt guilty about wanting my daughter to be healthy, but I didn't want my family to bear that burden. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yep. Understood.
No, it does. It does.
Yeah. So I don't think it's all the time sometimes that we don't have that support. I think sometimes some people would say, Paula, you're so strong. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm
Come
so
on, let's be
weak.
strong.
We do.
I'm
We feel
so
weak. We
weak.
feel guilty. We feel
Yeah.
we're never doing enough. We burn ourselves out because, I've been
Yeah.
doing this for 15 years now, a really long time, it feels like. And both
Yeah.
my children are autistic. And my youngest one has probably PDA, pathological demand avoidance, which is not being diagnosed in the US yet, but it is diagnosed in other countries. Um, we feel, you feel guilty that you're not doing enough therapy, or you can't afford enough therapy, or you didn't get your child diagnosed soon enough. And it's a large burden. It really is. We really need to give ourselves more credit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I totally agree. We should. And I know Brittany is well supported in the area of like, because I check in on her like, Brittany, taking care of yourself,
She gives me looks.
Yeah, yes, just breathe. And
Yes.
it's just and I can relate. We was talking about being on that hamster wheel. Talk about that, Brittany, because a lot of us are on it.
I don't know, y'all. It's just I feel like even though I'm not in survival mode, I'm still on the hamster wheel. And I know we were talking about how sometimes I know I feel this way, but sometimes I'm tired and I don't want to do the same thing every day. Like I'm more of a spontaneous person. Like I hate doing the same routine every day, even though my son thrives on routine. So sometimes I don't want to wake up and it's just so exhausting to do the same thing. And it's really hard for me. And I'm navigating my way trying to figure out, some things that I can do differently to make myself not, feel so exhausted from just like spinning and doing the same thing over again. But yeah, that hamster wheel is
What's
tough.
some of the things, Brittany? Tell us. Do you mind telling us what some of the things are, like your a day with your son that's
Mhm.
somewhat routine? What's some of those things?
Every day is the same. We wake up. I have to fight him, not really fight him. I shouldn't say that. I have to struggle with him, convince him that we have to get ready, we have to get out the door, we have to eat breakfast. Like he's a kid where he wants to wake up when he wants to wake up. Which is totally different because he used to wake up at 5 in the morning, but that's a whole nother story. Now he's to the point where he just wants to wake up slow. So I try to wake him up earlier so we can have a slower morning. But if I wake him up too early, he'll wake up and go into meltdown mode. So I have to be careful of that. And then you know, breakfast is a big thing. Like I have to still feed him his oatmeal. If he wants oatmeal that day and I have to feed him, I know I'm gonna be behind because if he tries to feed himself, like, and he gets oatmeal on his chin, it's World War III. He hates the feeling of that on his chin, his lip. It's a lot. And then, just getting him dressed, making sure he's comfortable in the clothes that he's wearing. Um, he has hair, y'all, because I don't cut it like that. So brushing his hair, making sure he's okay to brush it, and then getting out the door, and then going to therapy, picking him up from therapy, taking him 25 minutes away to school,
I'm
picking him up from
tired.
school, and getting him off the bus, and dinner time. It's just like, and him eating the same meals over and over again. Like I feel like I don't know. I just feel like a robot most days. Like it's just the same thing over and over again. But yeah, those are some of the things that I have to, you know, do every day.
I understand. I do. You feel like you're on autopilot and the
Yeah.
plane is just flying.
Mhm.
And I can imagine, Brittany, how you're feeling, but I think we all may be able to agree. Jill, you have to let me know. And I know Paul and I have talked about this before of how a routine, it actually works for you in life, because I know what time, I know his getting up is different, but it's like that bedtime. It's like certain times, or my kids still eat. Roman is 12, going strong, pancakes every morning. We just make sure we have pancakes. He has gotten flexible, but we just make sure we have pancakes. It's just some things just work for us that allows us to do other things because we know our kid is, they have this expectation. Like I go to bed
Mhm.
at 9 o'clock, I do this. It was kind of boring in the beginning, but I feel like as time moves on and as Brody gets older, it's going to very much work well for you, you know.
I
But I
mean,
know
And
she
then it gives you time
like
to yourself. It gives you
yeah,
time to yourself because I needed R&R every single night. Whenever 9 o'clock came, if it was 9:01, I'm like a werewolf. I'm like, everybody in their room because you're invading on my time. I need that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just say my husband's autistic, and he eats every Saturday and Sunday since he was like 6 years old. He eats a frozen Tombstone pepperoni pizza. We've been married 23 years.
Wow.
Every Saturday and Sunday since I have known him, he eats. It doesn't change. So just
Jill, you like it. I know I don't have to cook him a meal because he's gonna eat that Tombstone pizza.
I know that's right.
See, it'll work for you.
Hi, Channing. Hi, Melissa. Sorry, I'm saying hi to everyone.
Oh, yes. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. Oh, Bunny said, Crystal, what's that age? I don't even have a hard stop like, at age 6. I think I just did stuff. And then we always had to still incorporate different things in there, like Roman can travel. We just did stuff that it just fell in place. Don't forget, Roman was diagnosed a little later, so he didn't have an early diagnosis. So I hey, it was like 4 of the kids in front of him. He just had to kind of fall in line. But I did recognize his routines and they worked for him, which worked for me. If you're in the bed at 8 o'clock, I don't want to see you, because now that's a minute for me to breathe, and so it worked for me, So Paul and Jill, did you guys have some questions for Brittany?
Yes, indeed. We have plenty.
Are you in infant toddlers?
Infant toddlers.
You're not infant. You don't have infant toddlers at Michigan?
Probably like our early intervention.
Yes, early intervention, because he's too young to go to school.
So right now he's in preschool.
Okay.
I knew nothing about early on. So he went straight to ABA.
Oh, okay.
And we did that full time. And then we incorporated speech and OT after that. But if I would have known about early on, he would have been there early on. Trust me.
Right.
I didn't know. I didn't have the resources.
Do you have the IEP, their version, whatever it might actually be an IEP. Do you have an IEP?
Yes.
Okay.
He has an IEP. Yeah. And
okay. Glad that started
that. She's helped me with that. And he'll have another IEP coming up in like March, and he's going to transfer to another school because it's kindergarten time. So we're doing the IEP with them. So those are scary, but
stay strong.
We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
That's where your village comes in. For sure.
Yeah.
One question I have
is,
do you have
an educational advocate?
Yes.
Because I've had problems with my county. For both my boys, we've had to get attorneys involved.
Oh
yeah, I've actually won a state complaint. So but don't be worried about asking for help with the IEPs, because you want to do what's best for your child. And sometimes the school isn't necessarily going to offer you everything if you don't ask it. Unfortunately, you think that they would, but they don't. But Michigan seems really different. I wish I could move to Michigan almost.
That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah. You still have to be on top of it. Like I try not to overwhelm Brittany with like some of the resources that are out there, but I'll send her something like this webinar. It's about IEPs. Like it helps you familiarize yourself with it, because it's already overwhelming, right, Brittany? Right. So I don't want to send a whole bunch of stuff her way, but the more that she's involved with her son, the more that she wants to know information and handle it correctly, then she'll start seeking it more and getting into it. But I just don't want to bombard her, because it can be, this is already overwhelming. And then somebody just keeps shooting information your way. I probably would hit them emails like delete. Like that could be a bit much.
Yeah, I know. Me a lot of stuff about like Michigan Alliance and stuff like that, and it's good to follow. Even when I feel overwhelmed, it's good to follow those pages like on Facebook and like Instagram. So like when I have the time and when I'm curious about things, I can easily access them. So they've been a really good help. But yeah, I heard Michigan is like a really good state. I've been like convincing my followers like to move here. Like like come to Michigan. It's great. So,
It sounds
Yeah.
like you have so much more than Maryland. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
but actually, I've heard Maryland has. Well, I guess y'all could tell us. Some of my
It
followers.
depends on county. It
Oh
depends
yeah,
on what county you're in. It
yeah,
really does.
yeah.
Someone in our question, they from Georgia. It's Inyami at 21, but she said, "Does anyone know about homebound with schools?" I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
And
I'm
her
not
name is
familiar.
Melissa. Hi, Melissa. I see your name afterwards. Yeah, I've never heard of
I'm it,
homebound with schools.
she might be talking about house and hospital. I think it is home and hospital.
Mm.
Um, Maryland has something like that where your child is too ill for whatever reason to attend school. But I
Mm.
only think that they get math and reading, and that's it. And they have a tutor come to your house to
Mm.
So
teach the
that's not
child
with a
every day.
disability. That's not with
Um,
a disability, though, is it?
it
Like, I mean, just
you
like autism or something.
I can't imagine that they would
Yeah,
do that
because they
for an
would never
autistic.
have anybody in
Yeah,
school.
I mean, and I'd be surprised if it's easy to find people nowadays because they're having such
That's
issues,
right.
just staffing teachers, much less
Yeah.
substitutes and special education teachers. And so just finding a tutor that, that can handle having enough, I guess, tutors to handle house and
Because it would be
hospital
like
and
a
when it's a little
one-on-one
difficult.
thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's a one-on-one thing. So they come to your
Hmm.
house and it's usually a child that's too sick to leave for whatever reason, the house.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that's the only thing I can think of.
We're homebound. Okay. She said my son was put on homebound due to his autism and seizures, and I'm having to teach him myself.
Oh wow,
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. We would
that's a
love to have
lot.
you on the show to tell us
Melissa,
about that.
are you my Melissa? I think,
Melissa.
Yeah,
okay.
she's in Georgia.
Yeah, she's in Georgia in a
We
very
would love
small
to
town.
have you on the show to talk about that. That would be very interesting. Hey, Kenya Brown. She says hi. Yeah, she said that's her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Melissa, she is an EMT as well, and she has a lot of
Mm.
knowledge. But I know
Oh,
she's going through a tough time right now,
okay.
with her son. So yeah, maybe I can help you figure that out too, Melissa. Later in the week. Is it later in the week already? Shoot.
It is, girl. It's
It's almost the
Thursday.
week is
Yeah.
almost done. Yes,
It
the
is
week is almost
Thursday.
done.
But yeah, she would be a good one to
Mhm.
have on the show too. She's a really
Okay.
good,
So
really
I love it how you are, Brittany. It's like, let me help other
Okay.
people.
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Let me be
Yeah.
there to help other
I
people.
need help too. I need the same help. So when I
But
help you,
exactly.
I think I learn more when I'm helping people because when they
I
ask me a
do.
question I don't really know, it makes me want to dive into it a little bit
mm-hmm.
more, and
Hmm.
especially somebody local in my district. I'd be like, I don't know, but I could reach out and see if I can get an answer for you. So I think it's important for us. It's like also it's like advocating for others as well, just helping them
Hmm.
along the way. So that's a great support. And now that you said that Brody is about to get ready for kindergarten, have you felt like there's been any challenges within the school system as of yet, or have you found it to kind of been going
So
pretty okay?
okay, so I've heard a lot of horror stories, with just the public school system, not in Michigan, but just everywhere, right? So
Uh-huh.
I was in defensive already. I went in ready to fight, like whatever it was gonna take. You know what I mean? Starting with that IEP, that the little trouble we had with the IEP, so I was already on
Hmm.
tip. But I quickly learned that like Brody's just in a really good program. He's like in a special needs program that is inside of a preschool.
Okay.
So he has like right now there's only 5 kids in his classroom and they have
Mm.
4 helpers. So
That's excellent.
it's a lot of last year it was 10. They had 10 kids. Um, but now it's half the size and he gets a lot of attention. He doesn't show any like all the behaviors that he shows at home and at ABA, he does not show them at school.
Wow.
Um, So I really haven't had to, have any meetings concerning his behavior or anything. So we'll see how kindergarten goes because that's totally different. It'll be a new school, new teacher, all of that. So I don't know. I'm nervous, but right now we haven't had any trouble, and I'm thankful.
And I think that's really good. I also think that when I notice that kids show more behaviors outside of the classroom, I feel like they give it their all, and sometimes we read it as masking, like, they give it their all, they do it, and sometimes because I've heard stories from parents saying, I pick my kid up and they wild out in the back seat.
I mean, as soon as they get in the car, I'm like, dang,
Yeah.
can I get 5 minutes?
It's like maybe that's like a safe place too, that they feel like I'm in my parents' care or something, and they just wild out. But they gave it their all in school. They held it together.
They're so stimulated.
Right, and they
Overstimulated.
regulated themselves as best as they could, and then so those are things. I do think that the older our children get, there are some things that it could be a phase, or it could they could move along. It's not as challenging as before, but the older they get, it's just still it looks different. Something is different. Like what stimulates them might be different than what it was before. And also, but I think that that's really good that Brody is doing well. He's in a wonderful program.
Yeah.
And it's always good to have an extra set of eyes on that IEP.
Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We do have somebody named Catrice Gray. I'm not sure if she's one of your followers, Brittany, but she said she has a grandson with autism, and she's trying to detox on him. And it says, I think someone asked her, what is the detox? She said it's a PBX. That's new to me, Catrice. I'm not sure what that is. I've never done a detox on Morgan.
So there's a couple of detoxes going around on TikTok. I know there's like a spray that takes heavy metals out of your body, and then you can do a bath, like the whole concoction of like, I don't know, baking soda, and I forgot what the other thing is. And a lot of parents are using that as a detox, but honestly, it just hasn't been scientifically proven yet. And I don't have time to risk anything. So I haven't tried any detox yet. I mean, I don't think I ever will. But yeah, it's just something that's really popular on TikTok, and you have to kind of be careful with those things because TikTok is great, but also like consult your doctor. Just
Yeah.
You never
Yeah.
I
know.
would say that.
No. So
And then what are you trying to do with the detox? That's my concern too. I agree. I think, what is your, and I'm sorry, this is one of the young ladies that work with my husband. He just told me that, busting in telling me, this is one of this is one of the ladies that work with him. But Catrice, I would be curious as to what you're trying to accomplish with the detox. But I'm with you guys. I know with Morgan, so many different things is going on with these kids. You just have to be careful what you're doing, because sometimes it can cause more problems than a solution. And then everybody on there that's saying hello, we say hello to everybody. Thank you for joining. We're getting so engrossed in the conversation, and this is not, I hope Brittany don't mind me saying, but this is not the last time we're gonna have her on here, because 30 minutes is not enough time to talk. We have so many questions. One of the questions that I did have was, what advice would you give to some of the moms that suspect, like, do you have any advice for parents that are newly diagnosed, or if you think your child is exhibiting some of the symptoms, what would you advise?
the first thing I would do is like run to the pediatrician if you suspect anything. And just like Jill said, sometimes the pediatrician will give you the runaround. And honey, we don't mind divorcing pediatricians over here. So if you feel like your voice isn't being heard, definitely divorce your child's pediatrician and move on to the next until somebody understands and hears you. Voice your concerns and then get a diagnosis as soon as you can, because I don't know if it's autism. Listen, the wait lists are insane just for evaluation. So even if you're on the fence, I would just sign up for the evaluation, get on the wait list, and then just wait it out. And then after you get the diagnosis, if it comes back that your child is on the spectrum, I would, depending on how old they are and what's going on with them, I would run to ABA. I know there's a lot of controversy around ABA, but I would run to ABA, and then I will also run to speech and OT. My cousin told me a while back, right when Brody got diagnosed, he said, use all the resources that you can get. Even if you feel like your son he might be talking, but still put him in speech. Use everything that they give you because it will all work together. And I can honestly say, like, they literally all work together. They will come together. They will have meetings together to get on the same page. And it's very important that whatever your child is doing in, I know it's off subject, but whatever your child is doing in therapy, you also need to do at home because consistency.
That's not off subject.
Yeah, okay, sorry. Consistency is key. So
yes.
You can't just let everybody do the work at therapy and you come home and chill. It's not like that.
No.
You have to implement those same things at home. So yeah. I will run to a pediatrician if you have concerns.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
If your insurance covers it and you can see a specialist without a referral, then I would just go to a hospital, children's hospital. We have National Hospital here in Kennedy Krieger and a couple other places, and get a developmental specialist, developmental pediatric specialist. And they would then refer you to the neuropsychologist for the autism, ADHD, executive functioning, sensory processing disorder, all that stuff testing, and anything else, the OT specialist, the PT specialist, the ABA specialist. And that would bypass a lot of time, probably. I would even just make an appointment with the pediatric specialist and the neuropsychologist and at least get on the waiting lists, because in Maryland, it can be 18 to 2 years sometimes in some of these children's hospitals. And, and they can, you can deal with getting them all together later. But the most important thing is getting the diagnosis. Also, infant and toddlers. Your county should have some type of infant and toddlers for special needs children, and they should also be testing, and you can get your diagnosis at infant and toddlers for free. So I would, that would also be a place to start too. They usually come to your house and they'll do an EC and OT. But I will say, I was told both my children were not autistic by my county, and that was just my county. Not every county is like this. And I had to go get private diagnoses, and it took me several years for them to accept my youngest's diagnosis, even though I have 4 diagnoses from 3 world national children's hospitals. So sometimes it's very hard with autism. It just, and ADHD and everything, all the comorbidities that go with it. That's part of the problem, the overwhelmingness. So yeah.
Brittany, someone asked, Bunny asked, she said, what is your day like when you take your son to the grocery store and other places?
Out in public.
Oh, he don't go. He don't go.
You take the easy road sometimes.
Are you a hermit?
If he has to go, actually, we had to go to Target yesterday. We had to go, and I was like literally crying on the way there because I'm just like, I don't know what's about to happen, and it's the rush right after school and stuff like that. So, yeah. So honestly, if I were you and you have to take your child to, a public place, whatever is comfortable. Like sometimes the lights are too bright. I recommend sunglasses, noise canceling earphones, or just regular headphones with their iPad, like anything that calms them in the moment. Shoot, you can even have him in there with his weighted vest. If you have a weighted vest and your child likes pressure, I would take him in there with that. Who cares what people say, look at you weird, whatever. But
beyond that, yeah.
Every day, every time we have to go, Brody lays down in the basket, with his feet propped up. It's just like, I don't care if I'm a germaphobe, so I'm like, ugh, Brody, like, why are you having your face pressed down on this nasty bed? I'm like, whatever he needs, like whatever he can take
Right.
home, you know what I'm saying? So yesterday he was laying down, feet up, whatever he needed to do. He had his iPad and snacks.
Mm-hmm.
We were good. It was an in and out trip, so not much happened, but yeah, I make sure he's comfortable because stores can be, there's a lot of noises that we can't hear that they're very sensitive to. They can hear the people ringing up their stuff all the way up front to people bringing out boxes, people's conversations. It's just a lot.
Yes, the carts,
Cards, ugh.
people coming over the intercom system,
And
all
now
of
they
that.
playing music. Imagine
They
that.
play
Yeah.
music.
It's a lot. So
Well, how about this? This was something that I dealt with and I hated it. Taking Roman to the bathroom and there's no paper towels and they have to push the button. It would send him in a frenzy.
yeah.
The blow dryer thing, the
Yes,
hand
because
blower.
it's loud. It will always startle him, and
Mm.
it's loud. And I think prior to Roman, I never thought anything of it. I thought, oh, this is a cleaner way. This is less wasteful, and I could just dry my hands. I don't have to touch nothing. But then then you had to touch the door to get out.
Ah,
But then after having Roman, and it would startle him and it would send him in a frenzy. It was like, oh, I walk in and someone's drying their hands. It's like, so Target, at our Target, I know is always that single bathroom by the pharmacy. I will always go into that. And then, I always had like, you remember like them diapers, cloth diapers when they're babies. I still kept them afterwards. I would just have those to dry their hands. So I just thought, whew, like I gotta make it through this trip. I don't need him having a meltdown because he had to use the bathroom.
Listen,
Yeah.
it's to the point where I don't even take him to the public bathroom. Like I have a pop-up potty in my car.
Okay.
Listen, I don't even take him in there because it's just too much going on in the
It
bathroom.
is a lot.
Morgan likes to touch everything, and hubby put in the comments when we take her to the store, he used to tell all the time, "You're gonna get locked up." Because the sale tags, she snatches all the sale tags off. She tried to snatch tags off of clothes. When I tell y'all, when she comes out, she has a whole handful of the sale. I told the people, I said, I am so sorry. I said, nobody knows what's on sale because she takes all the yellow.
Listen, they are.
I don't want us to run out of time without you talking about what got you. I already know that you are creative. And you are artistic, and like you said, you're just an out of the box person. And what started you to find Autism Mama's Crew?
By mistake, child. Like I said, by mistake. No, honestly, it was that video, y'all. It was that video of me crying, and I was so embarrassed to post it, and I just started connecting with other parents, and that's literally how it came about. I had no intention.
Wow.
I just didn't. I never in a million years thought that I would have like a community that I would talk to several times throughout the week about this. You know what I'm saying? So it's mind blowing, and I literally can't believe this is my life right now. But yeah,
And
like
we needed it. It's long overdue. And I
yeah.
think I told you before, I said, sometimes you were like, y'all veterans, I need your help. I said, who would have thought that we had information that was really important? Because it's your day. It's just your survival mode. So who thinks that your survival, I guess it's just like what people say, what you think they're rags and somebody else thinks is, what is it? Your trash is somebody else's glory.
Treasure. Yeah.
Yeah. And you think that we're in survival mode. You never think that what you're doing is important to help someone else,
Yep.
But it shows that it is. It really
It is. What do you do, Brittany? Can you share what do you do and what platforms you're on?
Yeah, I don't do much, y'all. I'm mainly on TikTok. And I guess we're on Instagram too. But the biggest platform is TikTok, and then I have a Facebook page, like a little private group. That's really good for parents to be able to, then it's a very safe space. That's what like our little motto is, like whatever you need is a safe space. whatever you have to ask. Because, honey, I was scared to ask what autism was when this first came about, because there's just so much, you know. But yeah, it's a safe space. And if you're not a part, I would love for you guys to be a part.
Yes,
Because we need each other.
we
Yes, we
do.
do. We
Mhm.
do.
We do.
We'll definitely put that on advocacy's page, because I think some people think that when you're doing different things with the special needs that you're in competition, and it's like we're not. We're here to help everybody. If I have something, it's just like somebody had a peanut butter and other people had a bread and you had a jelly. Let's put it all together and we make a nice peanut butter and jelly
Good
sandwich.
sandwich. Good one.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's definitely not a competition thing. I
No.
think we all need to pull together. We all have pieces of this puzzle. It's almost like a 10,000 piece puzzle that we all have the piece to. If we all come together, I mean, that puzzle will become like a reality and it becomes easier for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Absolutely.
Man, we got so many questions in here. Oh my goodness, guys. I feel so bad, but we're gonna definitely go through. Even if we didn't get to answer your questions, we can go through afterwards and we can answer questions. Because honestly, some people asked about Pika. I My daughter has dibbled in that one. Some people asked about eloping. All that type of stuff. I think we all have dealt with different aspects of it. We all have. It's
Yes, we definitely have. We have our stories. And like she said, going in the store, that could be someone's struggle. I know it was one of mine, just like looking at a item and looking at my cart and like, where is the kid that was in the cart? That's
Same.
it's scary, and eloping is scary, and going into public places are scary. And I feel what you say, Brittany. Look, Daniel and Roman are 12 and 14. And I look at them, and at one point I said, when was the last time you guys been in a grocery store? You know,
Listen.
because they just,
Now we have order pickup. But I think back to your time, like when you had toddlers, there was no order pickup. There
Yep.
was no, shit. There was no Instacart. There was none of that. Like, so
Mm-mm.
I can't imagine like not having those services right now.
And then
Like
you
I know
didn't
I
it's
have the
so
It's
free
so
common.
helpful.
time. You
Yeah.
didn't have the time where you didn't have the kids with you. So there wasn't
Right.
either you had to take them to the store or you didn't get groceries. So it's
Mhm.
like, okay, let's come in. Let me come up with a plan. And it's much, you know how your parents used to be like, I'm gonna tell you one time, you better not touch that candy. Nobody better not touch anything. You can't
look
give
at
these
it.
kids any instruction because when they go in, everything that you told them not to do, they gonna do it and more. There
Yeah.
was no such thing as follow my rules. Morgan is a trendsetter because Morgan did nothing. Everything that I told her not to do, she did. She did it.
I like that description, Morgan.
She
Trendsetter,
is a
yes.
trendsetter. And like somebody said, you're a single mom. I was a single mom. So
Yeah.
it was just, it was,
I don't
and
know how
Mia
you
said,
did
what's up
it.
with our
I
sweatshirts?
don't know how you
Mia,
did it, Paula.
girl, I did it. I have,
I know, but I mean, I thought my life was challenging, but I always had Chuck, so
yeah. But I'm
to
going to
be
say
a
this
single
too.
mom,
I'm gonna say this too, and I know we didn't really get to talk about this, but I definitely want to have you back on here, because I think one of your videos showed your son, your neurotypical son, kind of acting out because he has a special needs brother.
right.
So, I mean, can you dabble on that a little bit? And even if we don't get to go, because we got to get off at 9. Good Lord, it was not enough time. But
But
can you jump in and tell us that? Because we would love to have you guys on the show.
Yeah. So I feel like it's an ongoing thing that we're trying to figure out. But he's young still. He's 7.
Mhm.
So I guess he was 6, maybe 5 when Brody got diagnosed. So his understanding of autism, he understands it, but he doesn't at the same time.
Mhm.
So when Brody has certain behaviors, it's very hard to get him to understand that he's not doing it because he's mean, like he's doing it because he just honestly just doesn't understand what he's doing. So we've been trying. It's I feel like every day is a struggle. And also like showing Brody more attention than Blake. Just because I have to, you know what I mean? Because it's just it's just what I have to do. So yeah, like I've been trying to, make a point to spend time with Blake alone from Brody. With the holidays, it's been crazy, but I feel like the summertime we got a lot of time to do that because Brody's in therapy and not really in school and stuff like that. I'm babbling, but yeah, it's an ongoing thing I'm trying to figure out. So that's a good conversation to have as well because it's hard, especially if they're young. They really don't understand. Yeah.
Well, I had mommy and Jeremy day. I used to have when Morgan was in school. What I did was have stealaways. And the bad thing about it was that took my quiet time. I didn't, but my son at 23 now, part when we had that sibling thing, he said, I remember how tired my mother would be.
Mm,
But what I did, I would tell him when Morgan had to go to school and he didn't because they was in different schools districts, and he would say, I said, today is your day, anything you want to do. When I tell you I would be so exhausted, he would pick the movie, bowling, getting something to eat. Sometimes we would get back like 5 minutes before her bus came, so that quiet time, that sleep time that I was gonna have, I didn't get to have it. But I thank God because at 23 I didn't even realize that he noticed or paid attention to that time. But he was like, I remember my mom would do this. She would be so tired. And I'm like, wow. So I think, again, we think we do so little, but as your son gets older, he'll appreciate those little things, those little things that you do to help him to get through that
Yes.
process because he's getting through it too. Just like you're having, he has to find his way and he's getting through it. And it's hard. It's
yeah.
hard.
It's just hard
Yeah.
to balance.
Yeah.
Mm. And we still
Balance
can figure that out.
being a
What is that?
wife, balance being a mom. It's just hard to balance everything.
You
It's
ever
one
figure it
TikTok.
out? Has anybody figured it out? Like,
It's a day by day, moment by moment situation.
Yes. Yeah.
No, I don't have it figured out. There are days that something pop in my head, like what Paula was saying, like she had days with her son. There are days like, you know what, David, we need to have individual meetings with the kids outside, like take them to breakfast, take them to lunch, like so they can share their grievances or not. They could share, what are your expectations of me? Like, I want them to speak freely. Is there anything you don't like? And I think they'd be caught off guard, like, can I really say it? I mean, like, absolutely. This is not a
Mm.
trick question. This is not a setup.
yeah,
So, and I just want them to know that they're seen. I think that's what I aim for. Letting you know that you're seen and that I
Mhm.
hear you.
mm,
Even if I can't do something about it, like I really can't go, and I thank God for the parents that if I missed a field trip, I had these parents who be like, Chris, I got it together because Daniel's
Mhm.
my boy. I got him, and then that would make me feel good because I always felt like I always wanted to be on a trip for safety reasons and things like that. So no, we don't have it figured out, Brittany, but it's a day
We
by day,
don't.
moment by moment.
It's a day by
And guess
day.
what? You
Yes.
you are doing it.
You are.
one
And
day.
I commend you. I commend you. Okay, well, this is definitely not the last show, Brittany. I don't
It's
think we got through
not.
half the questions. We really, really, really appreciate you. We've been trying to get you on here for some time, but we really appreciate you taking time. We thank you for your listeners that came on.
Yes.
Yes, thank you guys. For those that are going through this struggle, we four are here to tell you it can be done and you can still be happy. You can still be happy. You still can find joy in having your neurodiverse you
Yes.
know. Yes. So Crystal, do you want to close us out? We know we gotta go, but Brittany, thanks again.
Thank y'all.
Oh, thank you. We're glad that you
And
came and shared your audience with us. And, I got to share you with Advocacy too. So we just want you guys to have a great night. And
yeah,
until next week, we'll see you guys. Bye.
yes.
Thank
Bye
you.
everybody.